ladies and gentlemen, this is Universal Discourse. I myself am a co-host of this magical podcast. It is called Universal Discourse. Universe because, the universe is a wide variety of different things. Chemicals, and entities, elements, atoms. And we just wanted to throw that all in the mix so that we could talk about anything and everything to do with life. And here is my co-host. We missed him so deeply last time. His name is...
Ni hao. Geraldo.
Oh, I thought we had Yao Ming on the podcast there.
Doesn't ni hao mean hello?
Ni hao actually means you good. I'm serious. That's actually what it means. It means you good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And then when you do ni hao ma, it means like sort of hi, how are you?
Ni
I
hao.
don't really totally get it obviously, but
Ni hao. Ni hao.
Ni hao ma. And then
What? Does that mean good?
No. Oh. Well, ni hao just you respond to ni hao just with ni hao.
Okay.
Yeah, like it doesn't. You don't actually answer the question.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm bad at language. You know what else I'm bad at?
What?
Fear itself.
Fear itself.
I actually have a fear of language. I never thought about that, but it's true.
Geraldo.
What?
You know what the greatest fear is?
Spiders?
Fear itself. I think Will Smith said that. I don't think he's the first one to coin it, but...
Oh, what are you scared of?
What am I scared of? I am scared of judgment of other people. On a grand scale. Certain types of judgments, not so much. Other types, yes. It's weird. It's sort of complicated. For example, if I go into something knowing that I'm going to be joking around and it's a bit of a mess and I don't take myself too seriously,
Yeah.
and someone says something critical to me, then I just let it slide off and I'll kind of laugh at it. Whereas if I go into something and I'm serious and I put all of my effort into it and I did my very best and then someone criticizes something from it, then I'll take it more personally. And I think that sometimes is the reason why I won't put a lot of effort into something, because if I come up short, if I fail, if I get criticisms from other people, then I'll in turn feel like I'm not enough, which sort of hammers home that idea when I do feel that emotion myself sometimes. So I guess I have a fear of criticism and people not liking me. Things mysterious in my mind of how something's going to go down. Just catastrophizing a situation.
Narratives? False narratives?
Yes. And it just builds and builds and builds as I get closer to that event that I'm fearing, until I end up totally debilitated. Usually I'm white, my heart rate's moving rapidly, and I just completely end up talking myself out of it unless I'm being proactive and doing a lot of self-care beforehand, which can sometimes be exhausting unto itself, but is definitely a lot better than not showing up, not facing the fear, and then living with that regret afterwards.
Are you starting to get holiday anxiety, Christmas anxiety, Hanukkah, whatever?
I usually don't get a lot of Christmas anxiety, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, for me, I'm not really a Christmassy type person anymore, which to me is kind of sad, I guess, because I used to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I used to feel this magic centered around Christmas. But now, my family over the years, especially the last maybe 5 or so years, we've slowly declined on how much we give each other. And in turn, now it more or less just ends up being maybe $20 to $40, a gift card, money, and a card, and that's the extent of that. And I'd like to be more of a giver. I definitely aspire to be more of a giver. But because sometimes I guess I feel like I don't have to give to everyone, or maybe I'm just a self-centered bastard, that I don't get a lot of anxiety around it anymore, just because my family doesn't put that much emphasis on what we give each other anymore. So, and I don't have a family, I don't have any kids or a wife or anything like that, so I don't feel that pressure.
Well, that's good.
I guess I feel guilt sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe for not giving enough. And what I mean by giving is just like even a card. It'd be nice to dish out cards just to the people that I really care about, like people at work, things like that. Just that little gesture.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work and time, and I want to do that for a lot of people that I know. different people at work, bosses, people in my band, my friends, family, but it's just so exhausting.
It can be, for sure.
And I do get the extreme guilt if I don't deliver, especially with like my close family.
Yeah.
I know they don't care, especially my mom. My mom doesn't care. The best gift I ever got for her was like a painting. So I spent like $5 on materials. I just took time to make this nice painting.
You painted it?
Yeah, a Clint Eastwood painting. It was actually pretty decent.
Was it color by number?
Well, it was trace. I did some tracing, but it was actually decent, and she's got it still hanging up in her room. And it's probably all the other crap I wasted money on over the years. That's the one she likes. So, just about finding time to do something like that.
Do you still feel that Christmas magic?
No, not right now. I think if I have kids, that I will.
Yeah.
But right now, I just feel a real social anxiety when I see that everyone's out and about panicking. Like, I just see the human beings. And it's been terrible weather here where we live.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help. And they're all just kind of going into that mode of, like, something big is about to happen, and you can kind of feel it in the air.
You can. There's definitely something to be said about the collective energy.
Yeah.
Of the universe. Of the universal discourse.
There's a universal discourse out there.
There is, and you can definitely pick up on it. It kind of reminds me of the cycle of the moon. Sometimes when I'll be crazy, I'll be at the yoga studio. People there are very spiritual and spiritually out there, if you know what I mean. Which I tend to be on occasion. And they'll be like, "Did you know it was a full moon there yesterday? You just chose to sink into an energy that didn't serve you." Or sometimes they'll say, "Make sure you're focusing on something that's going to serve you because there's going to be an explosion of energy coming. Full moon tomorrow night." And then I'll, in turn, fart and then agree.
Well, we've seen it with the kids we worked with before. They definitely get a little rowdy on those full moons.
It's crazy.
School in general. When you work at a school, teachers are always saying to each other, "Oh, it must be a full moon," or "It is a full moon," because they do get a little bit randy.
Right. And it's interesting how believing in that whole energy of the full moon is sort of, is that the correct word? Faux pas? Does that make sense?
Does that mean like phony?
Yeah. Well, it's looked at as sort of being out there. Like you're a bit kooky if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the idea of it is that we're affected by these energies that are evolving around us.
Right.
All of these different elements that we're made out of too.
They're massive forces that are around us. Like we can't underestimate them.
So to think that that's somehow odd or weird or only hippies believe in that sort of thing is, I think, being closed-minded, because it just makes sense that it would affect us.
Well, it's okay to be closed-minded because I guess it's not really fair to expect a human being to just be able to gather all the knowledge and senses around them at all times when really we're not built for that. Our brains aren't built for that. They've kind of evolved stronger, but I was talking today with my sister about, because we were talking about zodiac signs, and then there's also moon signs, so it's like a secondary sign, depends on when you were born, what year, what month, and what the moon was doing at that time. And so it's kind of neat. So I read, like, I know I'm a Leo and I definitely identify with Leo, but my second one I think was Capricorn, and it was interesting. It talked more about my relationship with my mom and like kind of my being comfortable being more feminine and things that I definitely come 100% related to. So it was really interesting.
It was interesting, man. If you really dive into those zodiac signs, there's just more and more layers that you get to.
Oh,
as you get deeper into that.
Have you ever read yours before?
The only thing I can ever usually remember from it is like the negative, that I'm stubborn. Because I'm an Aquarius.
You're not stubborn.
Well, that is.
All right, here I'm gonna read you some of this. Okay, you can just give me a little nod if you think it reads true.
All right.
So you are Aquarius.
Oh yeah.
So you're a water sign. I'm a fire sign. So maybe that's good. That means you put me out.
Oh,
sounds weird, but
I put you out.
Like because I get too passionate, hot, and you kind of cool me off.
I put you out there, man. You're kind of like, what's wrong with this person?
All right, let's see here. All right, I gotta get to the good stuff. You are loyal to a lot of the thoughts you had since you were young. and although you embrace new experiences easily, a part of you remains traditional and prefers a quiet life. Prepare to read a detailed horoscope profile below. You have blonde hair, you're 6'1", you are very athletic and love doing yoga. Your name is Ben, and you stink.
That's wildly inaccurate. First of all, I have dirty blonde hair. My name is Benjamin.
That's true.
And
yeah, you're right.
The rest is pretty accurate.
Man, this is all bullcrap. I'm sorry I brought this up.
God, man, that is actually wildly accurate. I am dumbfounded by... what website is this from?
Pornhub.com.
Wow.
Oh, look, the opposite sign is Leo.
Really?
This suggests logic and adventure, but also means that this sign in Aquarius can create an opposition aspect at some point. Opposites attract.
They do.
Wow.
Man, imagine if we were homosexual.
Oh, your ruling body is Uranus. The planet. Or maybe not, I don't know.
No, man, my anus is my ruling body. I worship that bad boy. Baby powder? Oh.
This combination suggests reciprocation and control. I gotta get to the good stuff here.
Reciprocation and control. You mean I like to control things?
Yeah, and you like to have your acts reciprocated. Like, you give, they give back.
Yep, that's true. Both of those are definitely true.
Okay.
Gotta go with that control, man.
Here, I got a good
Acceptance
I got
is
to the
the key.
good part. Creative free thinkers, people born on February 2 are creative free thinkers that don't allow others to put any ideas in their heads. They not necessarily have a belief about everything, but they prefer to judge things with their own minds. They love fighting for a humanitarian reason and are usually involved in some sort of voluntary effort. They avoid ordinary at all costs and feel most ease when they manage to gather their mates all together. Positive traits: genuinely entertaining, y'all, and with an optimistic... What?
I do not entertain!
Are you entertained?
I am entertained.
So genuinely entertaining and with an optimistic approach to live, these natives... No, it says live.
Oh, how odd.
These natives often light up the places they go and charm people they meet at a glance. They are great at connecting with their peers and often quickly jump to help them. They sense what others need and often take initiative. They're quite determined and don't give up easily. Do you want the negative traits?
Yep, hit me.
Oh.
Hit me.
Tense, often erratic. These natives are not very dependable as they change their opinions and sometimes even beliefs based on a whim.
Jeff.
What?
Why is it saying that I'm native?
I don't know.
These natives.
You're native to
native to
your
Ireland.
sign.
Okay, yeah.
They are inefficient and easily distracted. Although they are aware of the importance of the work they are performing, they might be deemed as affectionate with other people.
What? Is that?
I think I just did like a run-on sentence, didn't I?
Okay. They might be affectionate with other people.
They might be deemed as affectionate with other people, but they can also turn to be cold and detached when they feel people don't understand them. There you go.
That's accurate. Pretty darn accurate.
Well, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Here, you can read. Oh, now I feel guilty. I'm going to read my bad traits.
So, if that was read to you, Jeff, would you agree with all those traits for you?
Hell no.
Okay, because... Alright.
Well, you think?
I'm just wondering that if
like
anybody had that read to them, I'm wondering if parts of them could relate to each one of those. So it would just... So it's so generalized that maybe everyone would be like, oh my god, that's so accurate. It's sort of like, as an Aquarius, you have a nose and a beard.
Yeah, I know. There is some silliness to it, but like certain words there, like tense, and I moved it, but there's ones that I would never like associate myself with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But there's words in the Leo one that, like, here you'll see what I'm saying.
I want to read yours.
Yeah, you should read because I suck at reading.
And then you can react.
Hopefully it's the same site.
Jeff, your son told me that you were quite the reader.
Who's my son?
Your son's name's Billith Willith.
Is he coming on the podcast?
Next week. He's actually a partially crippled seagull.
Is he going to be upset with me since I have not talked to him before?
Potentially.
Can we bring in Maury for like a middleman?
He values energy. He feels like you guys are connected beyond the physical. Alright. Leo traits. You're warm, action-oriented, and driven by the desire to be loved and admired. The Leo have an air of royalty about them. They love to be in the limelight, which is why many of them make a career in the performing arts. The personality of a Leo is made up of some positive as well as negative traits. Let's quickly go through them. Jeff, you're kind and big old hearted. The Lions are always admired for their kindness and helpful nature. Big hearted that they are, the Leo graciously shower love and affection on people. No, Daddy, no! You're energetic, since they are ruled by the sun, the source of infinite energy. The Leo are energetic individuals and spread the positive vibes around. You are optimistic. Are you optimistic, Jeff? Geraldo?
Yes.
Sorry, I was speaking to the little man. What? You are optimistic. Straightforward. People born under the zodiac sign Leo are quite frank about what they want to say. Mincing words is not their thing. Do you mince words, Jeff?
What does that mean?
It means that, for example, if I said, Jeff, this girl canceled a date with me tonight, you wouldn't be like, oh, Ben, it's probably because they have their own things and whatever. And then you just like, basically you would try to make me feel better.
Is it saying I do that or I don't do it?
You don't do it.
I don't. Should it make people feel better?
Well,
I feel like I do that.
Okay, let me reword that for a second.
No worries.
Okay, so it's saying that if I were to say something to you and you felt like you knew what the answer is to my problem, you would tell me directly instead of trying to go like a roundabout way just to try to make me feel better by saying something kind even though it wasn't truthful.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, you're loyal. While they demand loyalty from the people associated with them, the Leo themselves are also loyal and trustworthy individuals. Is the one you admire a Leo, Jeff? Headstrong. The Leo are opinionated and headstrong, and it takes a lot of convincing to make them change their stance. You're egoistic. It doesn't say egotistical, it literally says egoistic. They have a huge and fragile ego, which often gets hurt over trivial matters. Their ego sometimes becomes a hurdle in their path to success. You are possessive. Since they hold everything that is theirs very closely, they tend to become possessive and prone to jealousy. They are giving, but sharing doesn't come easily to them. I think you're a sharer.
Not with certain things.
Okay.
Especially food.
Would you share Tina? Your cat?
Not with who?
I don't really know where I was going with that or in what context.
That sounds like a little creepy.
Yeah, it does sound weird.
You're not taking my cat?
I think Toothless Jimmy wants your cat.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a very possessive relationship with animals. You're dominating. The Leo want to be in control of situations and expect people to follow them. Their dominating nature may not go down well with everyone. Get your personalized and astrologically astute couple analysis report. Whoa, that's way off left field. Impatient. They want to get things done and over with as soon as possible, but their impatience leads them to unnecessary anxiety and even failures and disappointments.
That's a big one.
Jeff, you're wildly arrogant as well. Geraldo, fudgesicle with some brown manure on it. Sorry, I keep calling you by the name that is not affiliated with you. Arrogant. They tend to become so self-centered at times that they would become harsh and say things without considering the fact that they would hurt someone. And that, my friend, is that.
Tough to, those negative traits have been tough. I've been trying to work out of some of them. It's tough. Especially, like, just being, not considering what people are going to think when I say something. That's a tough one.
Do you do that a lot?
Especially with women.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm, like, trying to be diplomatic, but I'm actually just not taking their side.
Right.
Just lame quality. Don't want it.
One of my astute qualities, one of my qualities that I find a major hindrance sometimes is my need to control a situation. And I think that comes from just being an overly anxious person. Trying to control people, and sometimes, I don't even want to say this out loud, but sometimes I'll people please not because I'm trying to be kind necessarily, but because I want to get my own way.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's like a manipulative act. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm being a genuinely kind person in this situation, and then if you really look deep down to the root of that kindness, you're actually expecting something, or you want them to behave in a certain way in the future. So you're people pleasing. So I'll try to control people in that way, which I'm well aware of. I want to be a genuinely kind person without desiring something underneath, but I feel like that's also a fairly human trait.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about. I didn't really notice that we were opposite signs or anything, but it's kind of cool to think about because we both sort of have the same traits of like that control. I think that's the common ground. But for some reason, when we're together, I don't feel any sort of battle for control.
Neither do I.
I think the kind of controls that we look for are opposites or different, so we don't even notice them.
You seem so relaxed to me that the fact that it says that you're a controlling person doesn't really resonate. I'm trying to think about how you're controlling.
Well, I'm always driving, which is for me to control.
Really?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I would rather me drive, because then I can decide where we go.
Right.
I might like ask you and pretend like you get to decide, but really I get to decide.
That's fair.
Right? So there's always like undermining sort of issues that we're all manipulating around.
Well, when you come get me, we always do go to get coffee.
Oh, we both love coffee. That's just a natural.
Yes, coffee. It's just like an unspoken truth.
Drinking coffee right now.
I am actually, yes. It's out of control.
So one other connection that we both kind of have in that is we're definitely emotional dudes.
It's interesting though.
Analytic.
With the majority, I don't want to say everybody. Pretty much everybody who I meet, who has met you, say that you're very reserved, quiet, stern-looking person. And I guess that since I've known you since you were 3 years old, well, I just don't really. I mean, I see where they see that, but I don't have that view of you. And so when they say that to me, I'm always like, oh well, you should just get to know them.
Yeah, wait for a little while for the big fun. That bothers me, or used to bother me a lot, especially. I mean, it's fine at work because I'm working. I'm being a professional. Like I'm not just gonna. For me, like I do want to have like a reputation there to be just like a steady Eddie. But then when I meet like people at a party or something and they think that I'm like that, it is kind of annoying because that is not really me. But I'm starting to come warmer up to the fact that I am kind of a slower, get to know you kind of person.
Yeah.
It's tough to get right out there like you do. I don't know how you do it. I can't do it at all.
Sometimes I do dislike that part about myself, that I'll put my whole heart out there immediately, almost, much to my regret with certain people. But usually I can sense whether I'm safe with someone, and I'm not sure why I do that, why I'm so open right away. I guess what I'd like to think is that I'm going to present you with who I am immediately.
Yeah, you just want an answer.
And then if you don't like me, or I'm not vibing with you, then I don't want you in my space.
You got your answer right away.
Yeah, I got my answer right away. If you don't like my weirdness, my goofiness, the way that I, just try to talk about things that I view as being real, then we're just not going to vibe, and then that's that. And then,
I think I spend most of my time around new people just watching, and sort of like making a list in my head of what the other people are like. Just trying to like get to know them, or just try to figure out what it is, the way I need to talk to them. Because when I was a kid, I was a really good chameleon. Like I could hang out with a lot of different groups. I could hang out with like the punks and skaters, and I could hang out with like the stoners and music people and the jocks. Like I could kind of go around and do the rounds and change the way that I sort of acted around each group.
Yeah.
And I was fine doing that. I still felt like I was the same person, but I just knew how to treat them differently. But
I felt like I could be a chameleon at times as a kid. I mean, I definitely had a wide variety of friends in different groups. But grade 10 was a weird turning point for me, because in grade 10 was when might not be a little bit off topic, but grade 10 was when I stopped listening to the music that I thought I should be listening to.
Oh yeah.
And I started listening to the music that I actually liked. And that's also when I stopped really trying to be friends with people who I thought were really popular and might give me a certain level of status, and I started just vibing and hanging out mostly with people who I just resonated with, like genuinely kind people.
Mm-hmm.
So grade 10 was kind of a turning point in
That's when you started listening to Great Big Sea.
Oh, exactly. Way, hey, now away we go. Donkey riding, way, hey, now away we go. Riding on a donkey, was here in Quebec, launching timber on the deck. Will you break your bleeding neck, riding on a donkey?
I haven't bummed you in a long time.
That was like our grade 10 JV volleyball team anthem. I haven't bumped you in a long time.
That song is so stupid. I want to put it on. I'm going to put it on right now while you're still talking. So go on about. It took me a little longer for sure. I definitely wasn't grade 10 ready for that.
Yeah.
Maybe grade 12. Actually, in grade 10, I got obsessed with my girlfriend, so I kind of went on a different path. But
yeah, you had a track record of. It started off with a girl in grade 9, maybe. 10. Okay. And yeah, you had serious relationships from grade 10 onward, whereas my first serious relationship wasn't until I was just about out of grade 12.
Serious as it can be back then, I guess. All the smooching in the hallways and holding hands and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it was good. I always look back on that like with a really positive eye because it's like a good training ground for how to treat women and how to work around relationships. But
God, man, dealing with that emotional baggage in high school, I'm kind of glad that I didn't delve into that world.
It was pretty heavy, I guess.
Because I didn't really understand. I looked around, and I remember you and your girlfriend, one night when we were drinking, you guys had this big dramatic spell of arguing and going crazy. And
awful.
Just looking totally irrational from the outside looking at you guys.
That's love.
And so, like, I was like, what is going on here? Like, how can emotions be that strong? What are these lunatics doing? Only to realize a couple years later, like,
this is what it was.
This is
rejection.
Just like, yeah, rejection and love.
Yeah.
And then the plethora of emotions that go along with it. And I found myself acting the same, if not more crazy at times. But definitely glad I had sports in high school. It was a saving grace for me and a lot of...
For all of us, that was definitely like a positive time. There was never a time when sports was a negative aspect of our life. Because we didn't play like the stupid sports where there's a lot of like hazing and like hockey. Competitive hockey just seemed like ridiculous to me sometimes.
Yeah,
it's like culture is gross. And
the weird thing is that in soccer, there was the odd years where like I really connected with the soccer players on my team. And then there were the other years where a lot of the soccer players that were on my team were also hockey players. Not to stereotype hockey players. People are just people. But for whatever reason, those particular years, I just felt like I didn't connect with anyone, which is kind of difficult for me. But just kind of backtracking a little bit, I have to take back a little bit of what I said about always being open and upfront with people when I first meet them. I will be guarded with certain types of males. Generally ego-driven people who I kind of regard as a threat, I guess. Maybe it's because I myself do have a big ego, even though I try to hide it a lot. I'll be more guarded, more quiet, and I'll kind of alter my behavior a little bit around them first, just to test the waters. And
sometimes I'll never show my true self to those people because I don't trust them.
Exactly, and that's exactly why.
Douches like that just weren't good to me, so why would I bother wasting my energy?
Right?
I don't care if they don't like me. Like, I literally couldn't give a fuck less, but I'm not gonna like put myself out there to be, I'm not gonna give them anything to chew on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that sort of behavior just stems from a fear of being judged or having them criticize me or say something rude about my behavior.
Right.
I am kind of the opposite. I end up caring too much about what those individuals think, even though I myself, I'll look back at myself and I'll be like, I don't like that person. So why should I care if they like me or not? And I end up expelling too much energy into that.
Well,
so
we definitely knew some guys like that in like middle school and early high school, and we're friends with them. And it was a surface level friendship that was fun. Like maybe they were like comedic relationships. But there's no deeper level to be exposed, and that for me that's useless. I like deep friendship.
There were some people who I used to hang out with who I felt like I always had to act like the comedian. I always had to put on a show.
Yeah.
and I always felt like they thought they were better than me. And it was a weird, uncomfortable feeling. And those undoubtedly are, needless to say, are the relationships that I got rid of.
Let's see if this is the song.
What are you playing?
I don't know yet. Is this it?
What? What are you trying to play?
Oh, this is trash.
You trying to play Donkey Ride?
Oh, I was trying to play I Haven't Seen You in a Long Time.
Well, might be a hard one to find.
Can't find a good version, so we're gonna scrap that.
Is that actually what they say as that lyric? I
haven't seen you in a long time.
It's sort of like what we were talking about the other day, that sometimes songs are so ridiculous and so cheesy that they end up getting stuck in your head, just like that. Ha! Stinky, stinky, and ha! I just kept singing that silly Land Before Time song. Not Land Before Time 1, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get critical with me on here now. This is like number 7 or something. They're all hanging around a swamp like Littlefoot and Petrie and, I don't know, that little bat-looking creature. I guess it's supposed to be...
Zuzu?
Zazu? Who's Zazu?
I don't know, Lion King.
Oh, yeah, it's Lion King, sorry. Anyways, so they start singing that ridiculous song. But, I haven't seen you in a long time. It just seems so happy and cheesy that me and Jeff turned it into I haven't bummed you in a long time, which obviously is extremely mature.
Well, no, it made the song so much better.
It did, actually.
That's why it's stuck in my head right now.
Made it a lot more erotic.
And your mom was in the car and she was like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
When my mom was in the car, we'd go, I haven't in a long time.
Oh yeah, we just hum it.
So she wouldn't know what we were saying. Oh, good time.
A lot of that going on back then for sure.
All right, so I'm going to delve a little bit into fear again here.
Sure.
So when I think this was 2012, right around there, I decided to go skydiving with a group of friends.
Oh.
The night before, me and my friend Lee did a little bit of drinking over at the Delta, I think it was at the time, downtown Fredericton. And both of us ended up getting extremely drunk. The odd thing, this was a really odd occasion, because my friend ended up getting way more drunk than I did, which never really happens ever.
What's the initials? Maybe we'll wait. You tell me off air.
Oh. What?
Did you say the friend?
Oh. Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should we not say that?
Well, it could be any Lee. And so, anyways.
It's probably not a good idea.
Alright. My bad. Alright, so we both ended up drinking too much. Woke up the next morning. I'm already anxious about this skydiving endeavor that I've agreed to, and maybe drinking the night before was a way of combating those feelings. Undoubtedly it was, and that's a lot of the reason why I drank, to avoid feelings. And so the next morning we got up, drove down to Moncton Skydive is what it's called. A couple of years later it ended up being a death there, which I'm glad that it didn't happen before this. Terrible that it happened in general, but I mean, if I heard there was a death there before going, I might have reconsidered, even though I know that skydiving unto itself is an extremely risky activity.
I wouldn't do it.
Part of me wanted to just go do it, just because it is a risky activity, and it's definitely a badge of honor if you end up going. But anyways, I went there, and as I've said in this podcast several times, I tend to have an anxious disposition a lot of the time, so I get down there, and we have to wait for so many people to go up and jump out of the plane, jump out of this propeller airplane, where parts of the airplane were put together by duct tape.
What?
Literally, there was duct tape on the side of this plane. I'm not kidding. And so anyways, they fly up in this airplane and jump out, and people got paired together. We went up 2 people at a time. And it turns out that in this sequence of people going up and jumping out and coming down, I was the last group to go up.
Okay.
So I sat at this little hut in this skydive Moncton area, out in the middle of this huge field, just pacing back and forth between the washroom, coming back, getting water, because I was terrified.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was kind of laughing at me because they knew full well that I was terrified to go up in this plane. I was pacing back and forth until finally it was my turn to go up in this airplane.
Mm.
And I get on, and I didn't skydive, I didn't jump out of the plane by myself. If you just want to go there and basically
Rita
do
McNeil?
it. Who?
Rita McNeil? Is that who
She was actually she went after me.
Okay. No,
I thought her name was Ida McNeil.
Don't you gotta get some sort of training to do it by yourself first, right?
You do. You need. I think it's a 6-hour training you do.
Yeah.
That's it. And you get to jump out of a plane by yourself. But this one was just a quick video and tutorial on how to hold our arms and legs when we jumped out. And so there was a person that was strapped to the back of us who would be pulling the chute and would be controlling the parachute back and forth and would tell us what to do when we landed on the ground. So anyways, it was my turn to go up in this airplane, get in to the back, and I'm talking about like this space inside of this propeller airplane was so compact. Like you were just basically a sardine in a sardine bin on a Sobeys counter waiting to be dished out by some juicy person who enjoys that greasiness. So anyways, we go up in the plane, and I'm strapped to this guy, and as we begin to elevate in the air, my level of panic begins to increase even more. Sure. And so to try to keep us calm, the guys who were strapped to us, as well as the other people who were responsible for taking pictures of us on the way down, they were asking us questions, trying to keep us engaged in the conversation rather than thinking about the fact that we'd be jumping out of an airplane at 10 or 13,000 feet or whatever it was. And I remember just getting all these questions asked. And normally, obviously, I'm somewhat good at answering questions, I think. That's a weird comment to say. But at this time, I was panicking so much that I couldn't put words together that made any kind of coherent sentences. So I was saying things and they were coming out of my mouth and I was like, what did I just say? And then I remember there were photos being taken of me and I was putting up my thumb and putting on a big smile even though I was terrified. I was like, well, if I make it to the ground, I'll make it out of this alive. I want some good photos. And then I looked back on the photos and I was just a ghost. Totally white. So anyways, it comes my time to jump out of the airplane. And we stepped to the side, like to the edge, and there was this big sliding door that opens up. And I look down over the edge, and there's like clouds, thousands of feet below us. And my mind just starts to balk. It just doesn't register the fact that I'm going to be jumping out of this plane and free falling through the air, down towards the ground. Anyways, he's like, tuck, and so we kind of like tucked in, and then we rolled out of the airplane. And then he told me to assume the position, which is sort of like your arms out like a cactus, and then your legs are back, except that you're bent at the knees.
Ooh.
And then I look in front of me, and this guy's flying out in front of me, the guy who's taking the video and the pictures of us. And
so there's a separate guy flying
around you. Yeah. He jumped out like...
That'd be a pretty cool job if you really liked it.
Yeah, it would be a pretty cool job. And so as soon as we got airborne, and we just started flying down. I think there was maybe 60 seconds where we were free falling. All fear went away.
When you were in the air?
Yeah. And I was just totally mesmerized and captivated by what was just happening. And this huge,
Adrenaline?
this ridiculous grin just came on my face. And I was like, this is unreal.
Were you yelling and jerking?
Actually, I was.
Like Al Reed?
I was like, like that. And then that was beautiful.
And on the ground, you felt better, obviously.
Well, he pulls the chute.
Yeah.
And then he's asking me to adjust these straps on my legs so I can kind of sit there as we're floating down a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah.
But when that started to happen and he started to want me to adjust the straps on my legs, of course, panic settles in because I'm like, I don't want to adjust anything on my body.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to slip out of these things.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not quite understanding his instructions, even though they're simple and basic.
Yeah, you're just, like, too nervous.
Yeah. And then this guy starts yelling at me at like thousands of feet up in the air.
Okay.
And I was like, and I said, dude, like I'm just a little bit panicky right now. Like, can you, like, anyways, it pissed me off.
Maybe not the time to have a like rational conversation.
Right. And so anyways, we float down to the ground and he's like, you're going to have to lift up your legs higher. You're going to break both your knees. Just says it bluntly like that. And I'm like, Jesus, man, way to like, anyways.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I must have tucked those legs all the way up to my head, man. I didn't mess around. And then we got to the ground, and I was so nauseous from floating back and forth in the parachute that I took our picture, and I just wanted to get away from this guy. He was an ex-military corporal or something like that, so everything he said to me was like, put it down, your legs! Get on the ground, lift up those legs, you gotta break both your knees! And it wasn't like a normal conversation. He was talking to me as if he was like my drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Pucker up your asshole, you dirty drawers. I'm like, no, please. So anyway, we get to the ground, and I'm nauseous for like another 2 hours after that, and Anyway, we ended up having a party around the bonfire that night. Once you get a few beers into you, the guys were all kind of making fun of me because I was so anxious to go. And actually one of the guys who works there kind of had my back. He's like, well, it goes to show this guy is the most intelligent person in the room, because he fully understood like the risk associated with parachuting. And I was like, oh, thank you.
I guess it's one of those things some people can just do without really caring.
Cut, shut, ah!
It's some people can just jump out of that plane and just like not really put the logistics in place that you're a small little human flying through the air that could squash into the earth really easily if technology fails you.
Right.
But I had an offshoot from there that I was just thinking about. What was it? Oh yeah, it's just the military thing. If someone offered you $1,000 to go for a full 7-day week in the army, follow all the rules and instructions of the army, would you be able to do it? $1,000. Yeah.
I could. If I knew it was a week, then I'd be fine.
$2,000 for a month.
That's terrible. That's like a normal paycheck. That's like less than a normal paycheck.
Yeah.
No, it would have to be more than that. But just knowing that there's going to be an ending and the ending's in sight.
That's true.
I'd be able to deal with it fine.
Do you think so?
It's just the idea that this is my career and I got to go and face the same people day in, day out, especially if they're dicks.
You're not good at faking though. Like you're not good at like hiding your emotions. So I could just see you like standing there like listening to the guy just with a like grin on your face or just like a sour look on your face.
Oh yeah, I'm terrible at hiding my emotions. Like they're gonna be out there.
Yeah.
But who knows? I think it would be I've thought about maybe entering some sort of camp or something like that. I think a drill camp or boot camp or something like that. I don't know. I think it would be interesting and an opportunity to grow.
Well, so
would
you did? Oh no interest. I would go straight to the battlefield, though, man.
Straight to the battlefield.
I gotta ask. So you did bungee jumping too?
Oh yeah.
Well, that seems like it'd be a little more in my wheelhouse. Did it hurt?
Bungee jumping was different for me, fear-wise, anxiety-wise. For whatever reason, I had so much more anxiety before parachuting, before skydiving, than I did before bungee jumping. For skydiving, it was fear, anxiety beforehand, like to the utmost.
Yeah.
And then I jumped out of the plane and it was fine. Whereas bungee jumping, I was totally calm about it. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna be jumping off this thing, and this cord's gonna pull me back up, and I'll bounce around, and that'll be the end of that. Anyways, my girlfriend at the time goes first. She jumps off the ramp, goes bungee jumping, not a peep out of her. Nothing. Not a yell, nothing. So I get up to the edge of this thing, and they don't give you even a second to think about it. As soon as you step up to the ledge, they're like, 3, 2, and it was a 200-foot drop in this quarry. It was called Bungee Jump Canada, I believe. It was just outside Ottawa, in part of Quebec, just outside Ottawa. And so I get up to the ledge, and I jump, and I start to go down towards the ground, which I can see. At least in skydiving, everything's so... there's like a weird lack of visibility in terms of like the immediate ground. And so when I jumped, bungee jumping, I inhaled so violently that my lungs ended up feeling like a pain in my lungs just because they expanded so much, because I went like that when I jumped.
Okay.
And then on the way down, I started experiencing the acceleration that I had not experienced before. Even when you're skydiving, like you jump out and a little part of your chute is up here kind of flying around.
Okay.
So you're not quite going as fast.
Right.
And then when you bungee jumping, like it's just a total 100% free fall. And I was going just ripping towards the ground. And when the bungee cord pulls you back up, you're literally inches from the ground. It's not the ground, it's actually the water that they had there.
Yeah.
And some people actually dumped into the water.
No way.
Yeah.
That would be freaky.
They gave you that option. And what I said is I was like, make it so close that I don't know whether I'm going to hit it or not.
How was the like give or the stretch, like the snap back?
It wasn't like...
There was no whiplash going on.
No. I don't remember it being that intense.
Oh, that's good.
I just remember, like, as soon as the bungee cord pulled me back up, I remember letting out this huge hoot and holler of happiness. Because I kind of forgot to tell you guys, but on the way down, literally a yell of death. I'm not even joking. Like, I literally screamed like I was going to die. And they took a video of me, and I bought the video, and my dad refused to watch it after the first time because I let out this blood-curdling scream. And then I had to redeem myself when it bounced me back up. So I let out this hoop and holler as if I had not been afraid the whole time.
That's hilarious.
And anyways, so you end up kind of bouncing there for a while once you're done, and you're also kind of spinning, and I get nauseous so easily. But there's a boat that comes out and gets you, and they lay you down gently in the boat, and that was the end of that. But
so it sounds like you did a one and done kind of thing. Are you done with those kind of events?
I like to think that I have the mindset that I'll try anything once,
right? And
I'll test fate once, and so I'm pretty done with that.
That's good.
The only scenario I can think of myself doing it in would be like a girlfriend who's like, "Ah, you're a wussy, just do it with me."
Push, yeah.
So she could probably push me to
dick.
do that. There is no she right now. But yeah, she could probably push me to do that.
She likes me for me.
Not
Oh, I got a call. Hold on.
Oh God, who is it?
I can't tell you.
Is it Rita McNeil?
Hello. You ready? You want Ben removed from the studio?
Oh shit.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right on time.
Are you serious again?
Are you clothed? Okay. Okay, bye.
What do you mean? Who's here?
Man, I'm sorry, but our guests just don't like you. So we're gonna bring in a special guest here on episode 4. Ben, can you leave?
Jeff, you know what you're showing right now? One of your Leo qualities.
Which
you
one?
just told me directly that the guests just don't like me.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Well, I want you to pussyfoot around it and be like,
go take a pee?
Like, you probably have diarrhea, you should leave.
Ben, you have diarrhea.
That's true. Too much coffee. Alright, I gotta leave.
Alright, folks, a little intro here. This is a former mentor of Ben's, former coach. His name is Eric. Eric Mavenhaven.
Hello!
Hey, Eric.
I'm Eric Mavenhaven.
So, Eric, we're excited to have you.
Excellent.
Haven't seen you in years.
It's been a long time, my good man. Can you tell the audience why we know each other?
I'd prefer that you do that.
Many moons ago, at the nice Roxy's Fields, me and my son, Betty, I decided to call him Betty because I wanted him to grow up with some grit in his grind, if you know what I mean. So, we'd go to the field house, and Betty would bring some of his local friends around, some who had the nice touch of the soccer ball. We'd all get together and go back and forth on the indoor field house. And afterwards, I noticed some perspiration on each one of the young boys. And I'd be like, Betty, Eric needs to shine the field house.
Eric, you realize we were 10 years old.
There's so many social constructs that we have that an old English gentleman cannot shower with young boys.
Is that something that happens in your home country? Where are you from?
I'm from England, I think, and
I think.
A little bit of amnesia in my older age now, Jeffrey, and Tony Blair passed a law when he was Prime Minister that older gentlemen could shower the field house for the kids.
One thing I do remember is you don't have a drop of body hair.
Let me get back to the showering story, silly Sally.
Continue.
So Betty, I said, Betty, why don't you invite your friends to come shower with old Eric? So me and the boys frolicked into the shower. I brought a little ball in there with me, and we played some nudie soccer in the shower. Do you remember that moment, Jeff?
I think that's one I blocked out of my memory.
Why would you do a silly thing like that? I put it in my memoir.
Oh, the only thing I remember is you had those tiny little shorts, and you used to always say that you had a pants tent going on.
Well, I won't get into the pants tent part, but I can remember not wearing the undies so my balls could be free.
Oh, my God. I knew this was a mistake. Derek.
A mistake? Don't use that language with me. What did you call me? That's not my name.
I called you a dick.
My name is Eric. Eric. I can't remember my last name.
Eric?
Yes.
The last time I saw you, you were painting a beautiful portrait. You want to talk a little bit about your artistic side?
Yes.
Or autistic side, for that nature?
When I get constricted by life's pressures and I feel contorted in a weird sort of erotic ways, my wife won't let me lick her butt. I must go downtown to the Officer Square, where I neglect my family for days on end drawing Burns. The statue of Burns down there.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you. Are you doing well? Are you still with your wife?
I'd rather not say. We've come into some hard times, my friend Geraldo.
What do you like about your wife?
Very little now.
You have the exact same laugh.
Oh, man.
As my co-host.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Oh man. Well, this is actually why I did that, my good man, is because, well, I'm quite the imitator. Sometimes, for example, here's your laugh. I'm working on it.
No, you're getting there. Well, we're gonna cut you off because honestly, I think people are disinterested in you and your pedophilic ways.
Define pedophilia for me, young man.
Like you said, there's social constructs. We're not gonna get into it.
Okay. Jeff, Geraldo. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Well, you do know that you're always welcome in my shower.
All right, security, take this man away. Okay, we're gonna hope he's locked up for a long time. That's not how I remember him as a child. He was such a good soccer coach. He was such a good coach. Anyways, you can never really trust somebody. So, hey, there's Ben.
Man, somebody spell relief.
Holy man, I wish that you would stick around for these guests. Just always terrible. We need to do better.
Well, I hope that you asked him intelligible questions and that were intelligent and clear and concise.
I think I flunked that part, but you'll have to listen back and see. It was a little disturbing. So, who are we going to get for our next guest in the show?
Sorry. Who should we get next in the show? We could get Marilyn Monroe.
You want to get a Ouija board? That would be cool. We get a Ouija board and we can actually talk to Marilyn.
We could talk to Marilyn.
We'd probably just end up getting some creepy old guy named Wilfred that...
Wilfred's always on the Ouija, man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Wilfred. He's just always like moving it, and it's not even really like that constructive, to be honest.
Dang, Wilfred. Well, let's cut her off. Happy holidays. Anything else?
Jeff?
Any other messages?
Do you have any fear of insects?
Of what?
Insects.
They said incest.
Incest. You're not from Geary, are you? Oh, just kidding, Geary people.
Oh, no. Well, we just completely isolated all of Gary.
Yep.
Now we only have Minto left. I'm glad you called them out.
Yeah, that's our whole listener base is Minto, so we can't.
Minto's #1 podcast, Universal Discourse.